Hello and welcome back to Dark Souls 1. This is part 1 of our whip run, which is, I believe, our 10th run of Dark Souls 1. As you can see there, whip. And this run we're going to be doing a little bit differently than all the previous runs. Because this time, we're going to technically be using two different weapon classes. So we're starting off with the Pyromancer, because we're doing the Pyromancy Flame as well. Because, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but I don't think the three, like, magic weapon classes are, I don't feel comfortable doing them on their own, so I want to pair them with something. And I want to pair them with something that I think is a bit weaker, so we're doing whips and pyromancies together. I think it fits, hopefully. But for the gift, we put on the master key because, as always, the master key is very useful. And we are definitely going to make a lot of use out of it here. But, starting our character, let's get right into it. And I mean, I normally don't talk during bosses, but this is Asylum Demon, so we start off with an axe, like with the hand axe, and also a shield, but I took both of those off because, like I said, this is a single weapon class run. Ignore the fact that we're technically doing two. It's a single weapon class run. And we're doing whips. And pyromancy flames. And just like that, Asylum Demon is down. Now, normally I wouldn't count this, and I would just do the Asylum Demon in New Game Plus, but Asylum Demon always takes like 5 seconds in New Game Plus, and it always feels anticlimactic ending on them and not Gwyn. And so considering we're doing that and whips, I'll just count it here. But Pyromancy Flame, Tattered Cloth set, I'm just going to call it the Pyromancer set, because that feels more natural, and 0 Sips of the Estus. And we beat him at level 1 with 10 Vitality, 12 Attunement, 11 Endurance, 12 Strength, 9 Dexterity, 12 Resistance, 10 Intelligence, 8 Faith, and we beat him first try. Normally I only go with like the 4 or 5 stats or so that are pertinent to the run. At this point, I don't know what stats are pertinent to this run. So, I'm just gonna run through them all. At least until I get a better idea. But here, we got a few levels, and I went, we don't have a very defensive set. And we're not going to be using very defensive sets at all, so health is good, especially early on. Especially since we don't have a right-hand weapon. So, we're gonna need one of those, because something about the Pyromancy Flame. Now, real quick, normally we take off all of our armor, but we're actually going to be using the Pyromancy set, so we're keeping it. But if you look, we only have 8 uses of Fireball, which means that right now we only have 8 attacks before we need to sit at a bonfire again. And there are, like, if we were to go through Undead Burg, there are more than 8 enemies between us and the first bonfire there. So even if we one-shot everything, it wouldn't matter. That was just us checking OBS to make sure it was recording, because I knew this was going to go on for a decent bit. It went on for, I think, like 27 minutes. Roughly around that time. But for now, we get a soul, use the master key to open that door, grab another soul, and again, in recent runs, I've been cutting out most things, but this is another scenario where I'm starting out and I don't have a weapon. I mean, yeah, technically I have the Pyromancer flame, but that's only 8 uses of fireball. That's not a whole lot to work with. And especially as you'll see in a moment coming up kind of soon, those 8 uses of fireball are not exactly going to get us far. And so, outside of the one little blip there when we were checking OBS, completely unedited, just us going through and basically just doing what I need to do to get set up in the beginning, and doing it unedited so that way you can see that I'm not like using the hand axe, I'm not cheating, I'm not doing anything like that. Because I want to show that I'm being truthful here. I want to show that I'm not taking any shortcuts, I'm not taking the easy route. If I have to smack my head against a wall, I will do it. Just stick to the rules. Now, the reason why we're running down here to Blighttown immediately is because this is where the first whip is. Like, the other two are in the Painted World of Ariamis, which we're not even close to that yet, and the DLC, which we might not get because we need to cut off a boss's tail, and we've never done that before. Not with the Sanctuary Guardian, at least. But look at this damage. 20. I don't think we could take out even a single one of these things with all 8 of our fireballs. So I just decided to book it. I was like, nah. Not dealing with that. And that's another reason why we absolutely need to get the whip right now, instead of just going through and then getting to Blighttown naturally. Because, again, we don't have an infinite source of damage yet. We only have 8 attacks, and that is neither the number nor the damage required for us to get where we need to go, or do what we need to do. Which, amazing hitboxes, and I was kind of hoping that I could just run past him, but that didn't work. And as you can see, this is not the best of situations. I don't know why, but at the time I just kind of forgot that you can punch things to get them out of your way. And so I hadn't done that. And then here I tried it, but the armor we have gives 0 poise. And so we just got stun locked out of doing it. And so I decided, you know what? We're almost dead. Poison's building up. Or poison is already eating away at us. Toxic is halfway built up. This is already not good. So I decided to just sit down. And then I decided to at least try to play it a little smarter here. Lure some of the enemies away. And then come and swing it on this guy. which it took a little bit, but we eventually got past him. And we were able to just run up and ignore it, which not the best possible situation, but it gets the work done. And yeah, we're poisoned, but we'll survive it. Now, I didn't start playing Dark Souls 1 until like late 2022, I believe. But I've been hearing about Dark Souls 1 since 2015. And everyone that I talk to about it has always said the same thing, that Blighttown sucks because of the toxic enemies. Notice? I'm not attacking any of the toxic enemies. One just died there. I haven't sent a single attack out, and I also haven't gotten toxic. But drop down, get the whip, yay for us. And I decided that probably a good idea to put it on once we get to an area where I feel safe, which I felt safe here, but there's that pop-up. So I decided to check, and we needed 14 decks, which we have 9. So yeah. We got it, but we don't have the stats to use it. Which, maybe putting all of our levels into health, not a good idea, but also maybe a good idea, because we need 5 levels into dex. We only got, I think, 3. And here, this guy was down here for some reason, so I decided to hit him. But, yeah. 1 damage. So we decided to just leave. Now, looking back over the footage now, I probably could have firebombed him, or fireballed him, but I didn't. But it's fine. And I figured, since we're here, like in Blighttown already, might as well just visit the Great Hollow, because I mean, there's upgrade materials here. I didn't get any, but there's stuff here, and good 400 souls, considering I can't kill anything, and good 100 souls, considering I can't kill anything, and another good 400 souls, considering I can't kill anything. And I decided to wait a second, see if anything else would die. Nothing else died. But I started putting levels into dex. And I figured might as well try, which faulty jump, which got us killed. I don't think I've ever like done that roll from the position you're supposed to do it at. I always do it at a really weird angle and survive because of just luck. But our luck ran out there. But it doesn't really matter because we didn't need it. But we land normally. We get the Chloranthy ring because we don't have any other rings to compete for it. And considering how low our health is and how low our stamina is, and we need dex for the whip, and we probably need like intelligence, maybe some resistance, because like we're using magic. Magic usually requires stats, so we'd probably need like attunement, again, maybe intelligence. So we wouldn't be spreading our stats super thin, but considering I normally just level up like health, stamina, and then either strength or dex, depending. Considering I'm I usually level up 3, maybe 4 stats. Here, going to like 4 to 6 stats, it's gonna spread us a bit even. And so I figured having the Claranthe ring means that we can focus less on endurance and more on the other things. Because we don't need a ton of stamina as long as we have good stamina regeneration. And we don't need a lot of equip load because Pyromancy Flame doesn't take any weight. Whip is only like 1.5, and then we're using a light armor set, so we can kind of lay off on endurance as long as we have something to kind of balance it out. But while we were here, I decided to pick up the Poison Mist Pyromancy along with our armor set again, because something that I was thinking about is that there's an achievement for getting all the Pyromancies, and there's an achievement for getting all the sorceries, and another one for all the miracles. So I figured might want to incorporate, like, since I'm going to incorporate Pyromancies, sorceries, and miracles into 3 different runs, for those runs, just like how I get every single weapon in the weapon class of choice that I'm doing, might as well get all the magic in that class. So I decided that we're gonna get all the Pyromancies, which it shouldn't be too hard, right? We're gonna have to deal with some NPCs that I've never dealt with before. I mean, I don't remember his name, but like Laurentic, something like that. We've saved him a few times, but I've never really done anything with him. And then I don't think I've ever even seen Quailana. So we're gonna be treading some new territory, but it'll probably be fine. Like, all we have to do is just not rush things. Which normally, well, I shouldn't say normally, but in the past few runs, I've been doing a bit of rushing things. Because some of the past few runs have been really good. Like halberds, curved greatswords. I don't know, they put up work. But this time I'm gonna take it slower. Partially because whips and pyromancy flames aren't as good. Not that they're bad. Like, I haven't gotten far enough into the game to figure that out yet. But going through, and at this point I've beaten like 2 bosses. They don't feel busted like some of the other weapon classes. And so, because of that, and because of the fact that we're dealing with some new NPCs, we're gonna take this one a bit slower. We're still gonna be doing editing to shave off some of the excess once we get fully set up. We're almost there, don't worry. Don't worry. But having gotten some more souls, having gotten a large Titanite shard, I figured it's time to head out. Time to go back to Firelink. Which, here I made a split-second decision to not go back to Firelink. And instead, go through the Valley of Drakes and head on over, because the armor set that we're wearing gives no poise. 0. And that makes it very easy to get stun locked. And that's not very good. And we have another ring slot open, because we only have 1 ring. And so I figured might as well go get the wolf ring to get some extra poise, or to get any poise at all. Because Like, not only does this armor set have no poise, but I was thinking about using a different armor set later on, and that one also has no poise. So, we're not gonna have any poise through armor. So I figured might as well get the wolf ring now to make full use of it as much as we can. Because we're probably going to just permalock the wolf ring, because it's probably going to be essential. Now here I knew that there was a halberd knight, so I panic rolled, and it worked, surprisingly. And I knew that we didn't have much stamina, but I was kind of hoping the Claranthe ring would give us enough stamina regen to just outrun him. Which, hearing him high on our tails really worried me, but thankfully he didn't decide to chase for too long. And there was a crystal lizard there, but our whip did not. I'm just remembering the one damage we did and decided to leave him alone for now. Now looking back, probably could have used Fireball, but I didn't think of that at the time, so whoops. Now if you're familiar with things, you may be going, whoa, hold on. Wolf ring is in the opposite direction. Which is true, the wolf ring is in the opposite direction. But also I didn't want to have to do all that running and go past the halberd knight again. So I decided to go up here, past Andre, and get the bonfire. Which, man, that hammering is loud when I don't have it turned to a 20% of the max volume. So I forgot how loud this was. But I figured this is probably a good time to pop the souls. Because like I said, we only have 8 fireballs. And I would like to get the dexterity to actually use the whip to have an infinite source of damage before we go after any enemies. And so if you look at the damage, 15, 21, 42, 92. Like, what a jump. But we got that. Made sure that we actually had the stats to use it, which looks like we do. And from there I decided to go evenly between vitality and endurance. Which I know that I said we could lay off endurance, but at this point I didn't know what stats we needed. And so I didn't want to put levels into stats that I thought would be useful, but then it's like, oh, later on turns out it's useless. And so I decided to just play it safe and go with the stats that I knew 100% would be useful. And those are health and stamina. And if you're wondering why, like, randomly whip, that's usually my way of indicating to myself, like, hey, you can cut this part out. But no editing here. At least not yet. We're close. There's only like 3 minutes left. But still just a tiny bit more to go. Now if you look, you might notice that we're not one-shotting with the fireball. Which, yeah, the whip does bad damage right now, but the whip doing bad damage doesn't really matter. What matters is that we have it and it can be used as like a cleanup. Because with that's one fireball and they're dead. If we didn't have the whip, it would take 2 fireballs. Which means that we'd go from being able to kill 8 enemies to 4. Which, as you can see, we killed 4. Which means if we didn't go to get the whip, or if we didn't use it, we would no longer be able to kill any enemies. Which might not sound like a big deal, but we keep on running. We go through here, and there's a tree. You see why the whip is pertinent now, right? Like, even if the damage isn't good, you need a source of infinite damage. And magic in Dark Souls 1 works differently than in, like, Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring, where there is no FP bar. You can't sacrifice Estus in order to get more magic. You just can't do that here. And so that's another big reason why I decided to do a hybrid, but Wolfring. But why I decided to do a hybrid between magic and a melee. But just like that, we now have everything. We have a right-hand weapon, we have a left-hand weapon, we have an armor set, we have 2 rings, and we also got to level 17. And at this point, we've killed 4 enemies. 5 if you count the tree. And we've also gotten through like 3 areas. So this kind of felt like a cheese run, but I was really having fun with it. So it was a great time. And walking up here, I decided to aggro these enemies and just deal with them. And this is where we ran into, I think, the biggest problem with the whip. At least for right now. And that's, this thing really likes to bounce off walls in tight spaces. As you can see. You need to aim noticeably to the left. Which, there we got hit. But Wolfring, we were able to tank it. Like I said, Wolfring it's just so good. Especially when you have a lower poise. And so, I'm really, really glad I got it. Because it's definitely going to help us out. Now, on runs where I'm not comfortable with the combat, which I wasn't here, I tend to just run past this Baronite Knight. But here, I decided to stand my ground and fight him. Because if I die, then, oh well, I can just get my souls back. But I wanted to see what the Pyromancy flame could do. Because I didn't think I could beat him with a whip. But yeah. 4 fireballs and he was down. So that was good to see. And we got 800 souls. We got a Titanite shard and a Firekeeper soul. So we could increase our Estus Flask healing. And now coming back down the elevator, we can finally start this run normally. And that's 1. We're gonna count these guys. That was a miss. And that's 2. And then we come up here. And 3. And let you fireball the wall. And a 4. And then this guy coming down. That's 5. Which, there's a 6th down here. Protecting an item. So, I mean, we're gonna kill him, but if we were just going in with the Pyromancy Flame, no whip, then I wouldn't have killed him. And that, assuming we one-shot all of them and didn't miss, that still would have taken 5 uses of the fireball. Meaning, getting here, we'd have 3 left. Which, there's significantly more than 3 enemies between us and the next bonfire. So again, getting the whip was of vital importance. But also, it cannot be used in close quarters. Like, not at all. But fireball can be. So, like I said, I put these two together because it kind of felt like they made sense. But also, they kind of... they take out each other's weaknesses. They can fill in the gaps of each other. But also, we got a whip, Pyromancy Flame, the Pyromancer set, Claranthi Ring, Wolf Ring, and we're level 18. And we just walked into the first area. The first area with enemies. So, are you proud of me? But also, two-handing the whip, even though it's not good in close quarters, very good for crowd control. They hit 3 enemies at once. How many weapon classes can do that? But, heading on through, we used the master key to open that door, to get us access to this chest, to get ourselves 3 gold pine resin, which I wasn't sure if we could even use gold pine resin on the whip. I didn't think we could, but I figured might as well get it just to see. And also I noticed the whip is made out of metal here, and it makes a metal clinking sound when you hit it. Which, when I think of the whip, I think of Elden Ring, and that one is made out of leather, so this one being metal really threw me off. But anyways, moving on. I knew there was a crystal lizard here, which probably could have fireballed it, but I didn't want to, and it was very awkward to try to hit it, which was kind of embarrassing, but eventually we got it. And we got 2 twinkling titanite and 2 large titanite shards, which, that's a pretty good haul, I think. And then going through the fog gate, not counting this right now because no boss health bars appeared, but we come up here, we take these guys out because we don't want to get shot in the back. And I normally do a plunging attack here for good damage, but I went, can the whip even do a plunging attack? So I decided to test it, and no, it can't do a plunging attack, which we have a +1 Estus, so we can fully heal up. But that means that we're going to have to fight this thing normally, which is a little concerning. But we have 8 Estus, so take note of that. And it looks like we can apply the gold pine resin, and we do. It didn't look any different, so I decided to take a swing. Yep. And with that being said, I will let this attempt play itself out. And that's Taurus Demon down. That was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I was actually really, really worried because I didn't have a whole lot of faith in the whip pyromancy combo, but it worked out. It worked out well, so I'm glad it did. And we beat Taurus Demon with the whip, pyromancy flame, the pyromancer set, Chloranthy ring, wolf ring, 0 sips of the Estus because we came in with 8, and gold pine resin. And we beat him at level 19 with 17 vitality, 12 attunement, 17 endurance, 12 strength, 14 dexterity, 12 resistance, 10 intelligence, 8 faith, and we beat him first try. Which I still don't know what stats are important or pertinent to this run. And so I think what I might do is just go with like the level, vitality, endurance, maybe resistance, and then the amount of times it took for us to beat the boss. And then I'll just show that so that way you can see. I think that'll work. But hello, Solaire. And for some reason it just it automatically locked off there and didn't let me lock back on, which was weird. But we found this spot where we can shoot them. And for some reason they're just kind of standing there taking it. They're not moving, but we're getting damage in. So Dark Souls AI. But I mean, hey, if it works, it works. Do what you got to do to kill the boar, I suppose. Now, whip may not be good in close quarters, but sometimes you can just lead the enemies out into the open. You can't always do that. It doesn't work in every situation, but it works sometimes, and you know, we'll take that. Take the ones where you can. Which, halberd. We're not using it this time, but the halberd did good last run. Very reliable. We liked him a lot. It was good to have him around. And you can die. And then basement key to get to lower Undead Burg. And this, which we'll never use, but still. And come up here, we can take out the channeler. And then bad news number 1, can't stun them out of that attack. Bad news number 2, this guy's running at us. Which, super weird, because he, like, never runs at us. I almost never see that channeler move. Or any channeler move, really, so it threw me off. Now, Dark Souls pathing. I don't know what's up with Dark Souls 1 enemy pathing, but it's whack. It's super weird. And he stopped chasing us, he turned around. So I thought, hey, maybe a fireball will work. Which he turned around, I thought we were gonna get shot with a soul arrow, but he didn't. He just turned back around and let us fireball him again. Which was good news, but then more bad news, that took half our health. Again, these are tutorial enemies. I know that they were buffed, and with the channeler dead, the buff is gonna go away, but that's a lot of damage. But they can die, so. And we sat down, and we could level up, but I decided, nah, I'd rather go and upgrade the whip. Which, at this point, we only had 1 Titanite shard, but you can buy them, which is the main reason I didn't level up. Now, I decided to get 3. I could get 5, but I went with 3. Because that's the most we could get and actually get upgrades out of them. Which, if you look at the damage, 8 base, 2 additional, that's 10 damage on paper. And then 8 base, 2 additional, another 10 damage. And 8 base, 1 additional, that's 9. So that's 29 more damage on paper. Which isn't the biggest increase in the world, but it's going to help us out significantly. And we can't upgrade the Pyromancy Flame here. But we didn't make a ton of progress today, but I really wanted to show that didn't cheat the system, wasn't breaking any rules. We'll go back to the normal way next time, and we're definitely going to make more progress next time. So, yeah.